you guys like to give me a hard time about being Bellator. Oh, you're biased. You're Bellator. You're supposed to say these things. Where's the criticism? Where's the criticism, you guys? You guys need to be getting on Ariel, Chael, and DC, who all work for ESPN, towing that line. What's best for them? Okay, those three guys, they're slurping on Stephen A. Smith. Slurping. They are slurping Stephen A. Smith. Oh, no, he's good. He wants to be part of Ariel. Is because he said hi to you in the hallways, from what I understood from your comments today.
Very nice to him in the hallway.
He's a very nice guy.
About the sport.
Like I said,
he's a nice man, Josh Thompson.
Yeah, he came up to you and said, "Oh, that ain't Gano. He's legit." That's all he said, and that makes him a someone who really wants to know the sport.
Oh yeah.
Look, Stephen A. And I've met him at the Conor McGregor and Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather fight, and had a split second to talk to him. And I said this on the Joe Rogan show. Just because I disagree with someone doesn't mean that I don't like them as a person.
Yeah.
Okay. There is a difference between, I am sure he is a very nice guy. I've met him. He was extremely nice. Okay. And he is, from what I can gather and from what I've heard of him on all the other shows that he does, he speaks very well when it comes to basketball and other sports, the sports that he covers mainly on his, what is it called? First Take or something like that.
Yeah.
On those shows. And like I said, I don't have to, I like him. I think as a person, he was very nice to me, and everything I've ever seen of him outside of fighting seems very nice. He does seem like a nice person, but that's where the lines.
No, man, he's not nice on his shows. He's ripping everybody. That's what he does.
Okay, but I'm okay. But that's where Joe Rogan and I talked about this. It's clickbait material in a 30-minute segment. That's why Joe doesn't watch. He's like, I don't watch that garbage. He's like, I fucking hate that. It's radio talk show headlines. It's clickbait material, you guys. Now, when you talk about what DC and Chael and cut this guy cut them some slack, Chael, I want to get up in him, right? He's like, he put out a whole video talking about we owe him an apology.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Get out of here.
You could take the thought of giving him an apology. That ain't fucking happening. I have nothing to fucking say I'm sorry about. And I'm the first person, I tell you, when you're wrong, say, hey, I screwed up. I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And so that's really what Stephen A. Thompson needs to do.
Yeah.
Grow a set, be a man, and say
Stephen A. Smith.
I'm saying I said Thompson, didn't I?
I know Thompson. Yeah.
Boy, I'm sorry, Stephen Thompson. You're the nicest person. Ariel
he
gave
actually
you
is
the nicest MFer belt too. So and you're one of the nicest guys. So now Stephen A. Smith, man, look. Because you came out and you basically told Joe Rogan, I'm telling you, you're wrong.
Yeah.
No, Joe's not wrong. No. You are wrong. You don't know the sport, and there is a difference between talking about a person that misses a basket, last second, or airballs it or anything like that. You can sit there and say what you want. That's, a game, and he gets to go play that game again the next night. It is different in fighting. And when you have a guy that got his nose broken, had his orbital broken, and then you say he gave up, you have just no concept of what you're talking about. And you, my friend, well, you're not my friend, you're wrong. So just how it is.
So when we talk about Ariel, and we talk about DC, and I talk about Chael, who I happen to be good friends with, and I'm good friends with DC as well. Look, these guys are towing the company line. Stephen A. Smith is good for business. They work for ESPN. It is good for business for them to say, Stephen A. is just doing his job. He doesn't have to be there. Stephen A. is trying to learn the sport. When I posted that video of Stephen A.
He's bringing eyeballs to the sport.
When I posted the video of him hitting mitts, DC commented on there and gave this big, long speech. And I wrote back something ridiculous to DC about, I know you don't believe this because you work for ESPN. You have to say these things. He's texting me separately. Yeah, you're right. I don't even believe the shit I'm saying, but I got to do it.
But I got to say it.
That's the comments. That's the comments. It's true. Stephen A. Smith is good for business. It's good for Ariel to say these things because it keeps his relationship with him. It's good for DC. It's good for Chael. Look, it is what it is, you guys. But you have to learn to separate the two things. Stephen A. made a mistake. Just say you made a mistake, man.
Yeah.
Like, especially if you're new into a sport. I'm not going to walk in and be like, man, that fucking LeBron James, he fucked it up tonight. They lost game 7 because of this shit. You know,
Dude,
I'm not going to.
Do you see the shot he missed?
Yeah.
I could have made that.
Yeah, that's
preposterous.
Preposterous.
It was preposterous.
Yeah. That's so funny. That Din Thomas King Mo thing is legit.
Okay, LeBron, I'm just kidding. I couldn't have made the shot. You're great.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm just joking. Right?
Yeah. So when we get into this conversation, you guys, like, you have to understand they're towing the company line, and I understand they work for ESPN. They're very bright. They're very smart. They are smart guys, very much so. So they're doing what's best for their career. It is. It's true. And so when you get into that, let them be them. But you guys, as fans, as people listening at home, you don't have to buy into it. Just understand. Stephen A. is, yes, definitely entitled to his opinion. I agree.
Absolutely.
And to me, his opinion was wrong, and I'm entitled to my opinion, and it was wrong. I also think that there's a way to present your opinion in not a talk show kind of way. I think in a sport where when you're on your talk show, maybe his talk show would have been a better opportunity for him to do that, because that's on the big stage of the First Take or whatever it is that he does with, I think, Skip Bayless. Let that conversation be had there. I don't think having that conversation with someone like Joe Rogan or Michael Bisping is something that should be had at that moment, that night, that evening. Maybe go and talk to someone like Skip, who has no idea about the sport of MMA at all. Go talk to him. Maybe the two of you guys could feed it together and you guys could bounce things off of each other. But talking to someone like Joe, if you guys watch the clip, Joe kind of smirked and smiled as in to himself, thinking, this guy has no idea what he's saying right now. And when that happens, you just know Joe. Joe even doubled down on today's show when he had Frankie Edgar on. They filmed on Monday, but then the show posted, I believe, this morning. Yeah, he even doubled down on it about the whole Stephen A. thing. So if you guys haven't seen that video, go check that video out with Frankie Edgar.
Well, one of the things that happened was when Ariel was saying how wonderful Stephen A. is to him, and that's great. I'm glad that Stephen Smith is nice to Ariel. Yeah, but Ariel did come back and said, well, because they were talking about, well, Stephen A. said that, he didn't see anything out of Conor McGregor, and at least Ariel came back and said, I saw a lot, and that's the whole point. Anybody that understands the sport and anybody that has been around the sport and fighting, how much can you garner from what you saw out of the Conor McGregor you saw against Cowboy Cerrone? You can garner a lot. There's a lot of things you look at, you go, man, he did. The first thing he did right off the bat was bad. It was bad. Just telling you straight out. He came out, tried to throw a straight left, and you saw Cerrone duck it, but that's when they got in the clinch, and then everything from that point, man, it was just all good. He blocked when the shoulder strikes, gets the separation. Cerrone throws the kick, blocks it. Boom, that kick up. That was the end of the fight when he hit that kick, really. And everything he did looked fantastic. And he did it to a guy that you look at and go, man, that dude's a stud. Yeah. Cowboy Cerrone's a stud, and Conor just dismantled him. If you were not impressed by that, then you shouldn't be watching this sport.
You looked at it and you said that he made a mistake by running across the cage and doing what he did. I look at it as I thought he did his research. His research showed that Cowboy generally starts slow. And he thought, let me go out there and press that pace right away and do something and try and catch him. And that's exactly what he did. I think he just made sure he stayed as busy as he possibly could, flustered Cowboy, and had a great performance.
In all of Conor's fights in the UFC, he's never done that. He's always been very, very calm, very relaxed. Comes out, he'll take the center of the cage real quick, but he'll stop. He will not do that. Oh, I'm going to try to do this explosive movement at the beginning. I'm not saying it didn't hurt him at all, but if you're going to say, did he make any mistake in the fight? Well, you can say, well, yeah, that's kind of a mistake. Yeah. But it's everything he did was after that point. There's not one thing after that point that you can look at and say, oh, that was bad. Yeah. Nothing.